Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. Time for another live stream. It is Tuesday, October 13th, 2020. And I was really trying to get everything together for the Trivia Tuesday today. I was rushing. And then I was like, you know what? I think what I got cooking up, you guys are really going to like. And I didn't want to, mail it in. So, like, I want to make sure it's right. So we won't do a Trivia Tuesday today because I think there's ways I can make it better or like the subject matter better. And I didn't want to kind of like waste it on a rushed Trivia Tuesday. Sorry about that. Just had a lot of stuff to take care of around the house kind of today with the kids and stuff. So didn't quite get it done, but we'll have a really good one next week. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm doing very well today. I had a hard workout today on the Stride like workout plan. And that's what tomorrow's video will be about. Basically trying to use the Polar Watch to do the new Stride subscription thing. It kind of worked. It kind of didn't. I got the workout in and he felt pretty good for the most part. So I feel like the improvements are continuing and I'm feeling good about it. And it wasn't that windy, which was another great thing because now it's just super windy out there. It's one of those days where like you go outside and like you're screaming because the wind is so loud. And then when you come back inside, you're still screaming. So we were definitely like doing a lot of that today. So that was a pretty interesting thing to come back into. But let's see how you guys are doing. Stevie76, not really impressed with Amazon Prime Day. Yeah, you know what? Like, has there ever been like an Amazon Prime Day where you're like, whoa, these deals are amazing? I feel like normally, I don't even look anymore, right? Because it's usually like, unless you're like really need to stock up on like battery packs or like cell phone chargers or like shower curtains, like it's not like a big. I don't know who's going nuts over it. Like there's got to be like, you know what we should try and find? I'm gonna try and find. There's got to be a corner of the internet that is going insane bonkers today. They're gotta be like, oh, can you believe how Amazon nailed it today? Like, it's not this corner of the internet, I don't think, just based on what I kind of seeing from you guys in the comments so far in the chat. But like, there's gotta be someone, a group of people somewhere that's like, oh, Amazon knows us so well. I just don't know who those people are though. The Simon is here. Philip Bourne is here, and he says, somehow can't really find anything that would be more than nice to have, quote unquote. So didn't buy anything so far. That's how I feel, though. Although, you know what? Yesterday, and it's not because Amazon Prime Day wasn't yesterday. I think it's 2 days, right? Today and tomorrow. But yesterday, one of the things that I bought, because I bought a whole bunch of stuff to get ready for like the next couple of weeks of Monday Mukbang, that was like on a flash deal. So that was kind of nice. But it wasn't an Amazon Prime Day thing. So, yeah. JC says, I need shoe deals. I mean, really, don't we all? Yeah, we sure could use some. Yeah, let's see. Someone was saying, Scotty B from Minnesota said the new tech is tempting. Thought about upgrading the Garmin. Yeah, a couple of you guys, Stevie76 was looking at the watches too. And then Paul Kane was hoping the Phoenix 6X might be included or the 945. Yeah, I mean, if the 945 were to go on like Prime Day deal, I'd snatch that up. I'd get that because it's the one that I'm looking at anyway. I've been looking at the 745 just to test that one since it's been kind of a while since I've looked at a Garmin. And but I'm like, no, if I'm going to go with a Garmin, I got to get a map. I got to get something with good maps on it. I don't think the 745 has like, colorful maps. I think the 945 does. So I'm like thinking I'm leaning that way. And it's been out for a little while, so I felt like it would be a good thing to do. But I also wonder if like Garmin's worried about people selling the 945 right now cheaper than the 745. I think that I think that makes it harder for it to sell cheaper. And on Amazon, the 945 is only like $10 or $15 more than the 745. Yeah. Scotty B says, my biggest decision in the morning was which shoe today and which direction from driveway. Answer, Boston 9 West. Directly into the 20 mile per hour headwind. That's a lot of headwind. Yeah, today's headwinds were gusty, but not while I was running, but in the afternoon it got pretty gusty. Jody's here, says good day everyone. Awesome. Christy, I was also able to skip Temptations thus far as well, and now confronting typical gadget wizardry frustration as his 245 music will no longer sync Spotify. Oh, that's frustrating. Super frustrating. I don't know if you guys saw, but Ed Bud is looking for a new watch today. Not today, but he's been looking for a new watch. So hopefully he find something soon. Oh yeah, here goes. Ed Bud says, yeah, there he is. That watch has lost my faith now. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, Martha says, Ed Bud, get any Garmin. You'll never have to throw it at cows. Ed Chan says, hi, this live stream is so inconsequential and chill. I really appreciate it, especially in 2020. Thanks. I read it and I was like, oh, I don't know where this one's going. And then it came around and it was like a compliment. So I was like, oh, cool. Awesome. Glad to have you here, Ed. Yeah, I mean, it's just a hangout, you know. It's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it. David Prabhu's here as well. Good to see you. And Kyle asks, anyone have experience with the Fresh Foam More? I do not. I was going to get it, and then I think when I first saw it, the first one, because there's a Fresh Foam More too, right? Which I really feel like they totally missed out. They could have called it the Fresh Foam Even More. I mean, I feel like if you're calling your shoe the Fresh Foam More, the next one's got to be called Even More. But for the first More, I was gonna get it, and then Seth got it, and he was like, "This is not a good shoe." So I was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna get that one." And then I heard like the same thing from like 3 or 4 other people, and I was like, "All right, save myself a little bit of trouble. Didn't have to get that one." So yeah. So ever since then, I'm just like, unless people are, I mean, yeah, it's one of those where I'm like, someone's got to have to come out and say like, this thing is amazing, and they totally like redeem themselves. Then I'm just going to continue to kind of like let that one go by the wayside. Danny J's here. What's going on, Danny? And Mark Chankoko says, the noise canceling Bose and Sony headphone deals on Prime are pretty amazing. Grabbing a pair. Oh, awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I wonder if like if noise canceling headphones are selling like the big cans like this one here. This isn't a noise canceling set of headphones as well. But I wonder if they're selling more or selling less than they would have like in a normal year. Because I feel like in a normal year, you got people commuting, you got people like working in open offices, or maybe they work in like lots of cubicles, lots of other ambient noise in the area that you want to drown out. But also now people are working from home, and so like they need to eliminate distractions that might be at the house, depending on how many other people are there. So I wonder which way it's going. Ilya Kim is, this time I'm not late. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Yeah, good to see you. Cinnaru says hello. Awesome. What's going on? Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. Well, Raynor says, got working from home with a dog who barks at the mailman. See, my dog barks at a doorbell. He used to bark at the phone rang, but the ringing sounds here are different than the ones like my phone. I just turned off the ringers. My wife still has a ringer, but she's not usually where the dog can hear it. But the dog normally freaks out when he hears a phone, or if there's a knock at the door or like a doorbell, because he's just excited about people. He's excited about the phone because in our building in Chicago, like you use the call box to call us and then we buzz people in. And so like he got used to the cadence of like, and he could even tell sometimes if it was like a phone call, like if I was talking to like my mom, for example, or if it was a phone call that was a delivery person, because it's like, hello, okay. And I like hit the button. I tell him like what floor, get off the elevator, go this way. And then I'd hit the button. And I think he picked up on that like cadence and that conversation. And then once I did that, then he would like start barking. And then after a while, maybe he got older and just impatient. He just barked at all the phones. But now he doesn't bark at any phones. But when the doorbell rings, and when there's a delivery, the UPS delivery person drops off everything and like dings the doorbell and then leaves, the dog freaks out and gets super excited because he thinks he gets to go chase somebody. But no, he never does. Shannon's here. What's going on, Shannon? Good to see you. I like the profile pic there too. Awesome. Sean Marshall giving a wave. What's going on, Sean? And let's see. Oh, CV76, the iPhone 12 was also announced. Yeah. I saw a little bit of it. I saw some of I watched a couple of videos about like what people were predicting, like the leak videos. And I'm very excited about the prospect. And because I've been wanting this for years, is give me like an iPhone SE, but with new internals, right? So like it doesn't have to be even the fastest internals, but like updated internals. If the camera can still be good, but the phone is small, like that iPhone, the squarish one, remember it was like iPhone 4 or iPhone 5 maybe? Yeah, like that. So like that I'm interested in, but like I don't know. I got the iPhone 11 Pro last year. I think I'm going to be good for another year, probably. Hopefully, I can make it another year. We'll see. Sean Marshall says, we talking Prime Day? A little bit. I think people are the overall like read of the room is that people are a little bit underwhelmed. Unless you need some noise canceling headphones, then there's some deals. So, yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. Ben Weiss says, I'm still rocking the original iPhone SE. My running, I don't know. You know what? I haven't asked him about it in a while, and we haven't been running together in 2020 basically. But my running buddy like loved his iPhone, and it was one of those things. It got to the point on his where when we would run, he would always he would never like touch his phone. He's like, I can't touch my phone because if I touch my phone, it'll crash. Because his battery would just die. So like he would charge his phone in the car when he would drive over to meet, and then like because he had the Fitbit that like you have to like tether to your phone because it didn't have GPS in it, and so like if you wanted to be able to see like record the run for him, he still had to have his phone. So he would never he would put the phone in his pocket and like never touch it because if I touch it, then I'll lose my run. So. Yeah, Benoit says, yeah, I agree on the smaller size being nicer. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, what would be there? I mean, there's two ways to look at it. Either make the phone really big and push more functionality to the iPhone, Apple Watch, or give me a smaller iPhone. I want a smaller iPhone. That's what I think works for me. A couple people still on the iPhone 6. Sean Marshall, Steven. I mean, if you could still rock it, I think that's great. My wife's still on an iPhone 7, so I'm pretty impressed with that. Her screen, for whatever reason, everything's a little bit yellow. I don't know if it's just her screen protector's been on that long that everything's a little bit yellow, or if her like screen is just messed up. And every time you touch the home screen button, like the home button, it makes a weird clicking sound. It's like a creaky knee. So yeah, it's weird, but she's hanging on. Mark says switch to Apple just because I wanted the newer iPhone SE, but think of me going back to Android soon. Oh, interesting. I haven't had an Android phone in years. I had the last Android phone I think was the Moto G. I think it was maybe Moto G2, G3. I don't remember which one I had, but I had the Moto G. And every once in a while, I'm like, oh, maybe I should look at some Samsung phones again. But nothing's really been compelling me to go that way. Tyler Eade says the iPhone 20 would just be covered in camera lenses on the back. There is a phone that's like that, right? I forget who makes it, but there's a phone with like 12 different cameras. It's like you have to hold it like this when you take a picture because you can't hold it like this because then your fingers are all in the way of all the different cameras. So there is a phone like that. I don't think it's very popular though. Oh, Matt E52 says, I just changed the battery on my iPhone 6 and it's like having a brand new phone. It rules. That's smart. That's smart. There was a place near my office in Chicago that would just change that. Like that's what it did. It like fixed screens and changed batteries for people. And I was like, when this phone gets older, it's got a good enough camera. I'm just going to replace the battery. So we'll see if I still do that. All right. Stephen Gerzer says, I want computer from the OG Star Trek. She knew almost everything. That's funny. That's really funny. Rainwater wants to bring back the Razr. The Motorola Razr is back. They've revived it. It's a new phone. It's a flip phone. it's got a screen on the outside, and then I think it's got a folding screen on the inside. Is that right? I think I'm remembering that right. So it exists. I don't know if it's for sale yet, or if I've just been seeing like ads, or maybe I think I've been seeing videos from people that got early versions. But yeah, I think it's back. Um, yeah, my favorite phone, I think we've talked about this before, but my favorite phone of all time was the Motorola StarTAC. It was light. I had two different batteries. I had a slim battery and an extra fat battery, and I would just like, depending on what was going to happen on the weekend, because it's not like you didn't need to charge it every day, but I was like, this week I think I'll go with the slim battery because I want to have it fit in my pocket a little bit smaller. And it also reminds me of like in Futurama, in one of the episodes, like someone answers the phone and they have to pick it up like this, and they're like, "Oh, I lost my phone," and they're like pinching their two fingers together and like holding it up. And we got that one wrong, didn't we? Or the makers of Futurama got that wrong, because now phones are just giant. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess the bigger the phone gets, the more it makes me realize, I need to look at that thing less. I mean, it's nice to look at and it's convenient to have a large phone, but the larger it gets, the more I'm like, this is like me walking around with my laptop or a giant iPad all the time, and I don't need to be doing that. So it's kind of like if it gets too big, it like ruins the illusion that it's just like I'm very mobile and I'm not tethered to anything. That's kind of how I feel about it. Cy Mill says, I wish Sony hadn't stopped making compact phones. Most Androids are stupidly large these days. Well, I mean, they're the ones that started the stupidly large ones. Remember, like HTC was the one does HTC still exist? They were like the first one to have like the 5-inch display, weren't they? Remember that? Remember when everyone called them phablets? Remember when that was a word that people had to say regularly? Oh, I'm glad that time is over. Yeah. Sean Marshall says the Motorola Razr reissue is better than the Clifton one reissue. Maybe. Speaking of Hoka and Clifton's, I was looking at the website yesterday, the Hoka website yesterday. Two things. First is there's a whole bunch of like Olympics edition Hokas. I think the Bondi and the Clifton. They have and the colors are just ridiculous and they're weird and outlandish. And then there's also leather versions of both the Bondi, which I think is normal for them. But there's a leather Clifton that you can get as well. And I'm just like, all right. I mean, I think the Bondi leather thing, I think that's for people like mainly in the healthcare industry that want a shoe you could wipe off, where fluids, if they got spilled, wouldn't soak in. I think that's why they make those. But or other people, I'm guessing it sells pretty well with like servers, people that work in kitchens that are supposed to have like black shoes. So I'm hoping they sell a lot of those for that kind of person and that kind of buyer. But also on the Hoka page, they've got a countdown for when the Rocket X is going to be released. And if I've done the math correctly, which odds are I haven't, but I've done the math correctly, I think that you can buy, there's like 3 things that they're releasing, like another version of the Clifton, something else, and then the Rocket X at 3 a.m. Central Time on Thursday. Maybe you guys can correct me. Maybe you guys already knew that, but I didn't know that. I've been just like randomly checking the website to see like, is it on now? Maybe I missed the launch announcement. So I don't know. Martha says, flip phones. I remember our first cell phone. It used to start playing music without my touching it. Very spooky. Yeah. My first cell phone was not a flip phone. It was a Nokia like 5260 or something weird like that. I got it from Singular. So that's kind of how old that is. Yeah, Steve says, I'm very tempted by the AirPods Pro for £208. Not cheap, but cheaper. Is it safe to buy Apple stuff from Amazon? I worry about knockoffs. I've bought Apple stuff from Amazon before. I have not worried about it. So, I suppose it could be a problem, but I wouldn't. I've not had any bad experience. Maybe someone else has, but in the chat, but I haven't. So I feel good about it. Yeah, James Elward said he had a star attack until it split in two. That had a really satisfying closing of the phone too. It was just, it was really nice. I enjoyed it. Sean Marshall says Egyptian hieroglyphics are easier to communicate with than texting on a flip phone. Yeah, you know what though? I never really texted on a flip phone. I don't think I was texting. I don't know what I was doing or how I was communicating with people. I must just not have been. Because like beepers were big when I was in my part of where I grew up in New Jersey. So lots of people had them. I never ended up having one. I never really texted people on my cell phone. I guess I just still called people back in the day. I don't know. Yeah. Neat Penguin. Let's see what's that. Says, actually, I'm waiting for the Apple Watch to be able to replace my phone and running watch. Two birds with one stone. That's the day I get a watch. Yeah, I mean, I'd really like that too, but like a lot of the Apple Watch apps are still designed to kind of like piggyback or like drive you to. It's kind of like quick bites on like the Apple Watch, and then when you have more time, you get it. Then you look at the phone. What I would love is to have kind of like my ecosystem be Apple Watch with AirPods Pro, so that way I could take phone calls and stuff and do any of that kind of thing that I needed to do, like have conversations, and then an iPad. So just skip the phone part. So that's how I would like to live, and that would really work well for me, I think. But I don't know. Tyler Eads saying, did anyone here use the Juke? That was a weird phone. I never had that one. Like that was one that looked like kind of like a little toy boomerang. It's kind of slipped up to the side, and it had like I don't know. That was really weird. Stevie76 says, before access to the internet, I would stare at my cell phone and just look at old text messages. I played Snake. Remember that? People played Snake like crazy. One of the weirdest things that I ever saw was this would have been like 2001. So it would have been like 2000, maybe 2001. I think early 2001. So one of the things I used to do for money in college was I would be a volunteer to participate in medical studies. And I think I've told you guys about that before. And one of the ones that I signed up for was like, it was before, it's a lot easier to get generic drugs approved now. But before, the generic drugs would all have to go through the same level of rigorous like FDA testing. Even though like chemically, like molecularly really similar to the name brand drug. But they needed human beings to test it on. So I would do this, and they would give you a drug. You'd stay there over the weekend. They'd feed you like crazy, which was great for a college student. And then you'd have to go and like subject yourself to blood tests like periodically after that to see that you're not having side effects that are unexpected, and to make sure that the compositions are like leaving your system at the expected rate. And one time I was there over a weekend, and some guy, he had like a cell phone or like a little device that he was like typing on. And then there was a payphone at this place. And then he would put the thing next to the payphone and like dial something. And then it would make like modem sounds. And then and you'd have to wait, and everyone could hear it. And it was making like the, America Online, like the dial-up modem sounds. And it would take like 2 or 3 minutes. And we were like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm sending an email. And so like that's how he would send an email, is he would type it up on this little keyboard thing, and then it would press it up to like the receiver on a phone. It was just so bizarre. I've never seen another one like that. But that was weird. That was only 19 years ago. That was only like 20 years ago. So like we've come a long way. Oh man. J&J said, you did. You explained to us why you have an extra toe. I remember that. I don't have the extra toe. My brother-in-law had an extra toe, but it was surgically removed. Sean Marshall said, "Was this guy actually just Tom Hanks emailing Meg Ryan? It could have been. Could have been. I don't know. He was. He was the kind of guy that looks like he worked in IT, and he did work in IT. But yeah, so it wasn't. It definitely wasn't Tom Hanks." Phil Harburn says, "Motion to declare us your subscribers the community." Okay. I think we could. I got to figure out how do I use that, because it's not like, like I'm thinking about like Aussie Man reviews. He goes, "What up? What's going on, you legends? Like, what's going on, you community members?" I think that needs a little bit more finesse. Um, yeah, motion sustained, motion granted on that one. Okay. Danny J says, "I had to explain dial-up to my niece and nephew the other day. I started to make the AOL dial-up sound and they were completely flummoxed. You've got mail. I miss chat rooms." Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's funny is, to go a little bit even further back, my wife living in this house, they had a party line. So they shared a phone line between this house and the neighbor next door. And so basically what would happen is, you pick up the phone and someone might be on it. And you've all experienced that, like most of you probably experienced that, like growing up, you experienced it where like, "Mom, get off the phone. I got it." But sometimes it would be like the neighbor next door. And so they had a party line, because rather than getting like two lines, they just split one. It was crazy. Larry Mall says 300 baud, everyone. Oh, that sounds. Can you imagine that now? I mean, especially on the day that like the iPhone 12 with 5G is announced. Here's the thing that I'm wondering: with the iPhone 12 5G announcement today, are QAnon people like freaking out? Are they like, "This is Skynet, this is how it begins"? Or did everyone forget about 5G? Now they got like something else to worry about? What's going on with the status of like the 5G conspiracies? Are people still into that? Or what's the status of that? Is that like Pizzagate or like it's debunked? Or I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah, James Elbert says, "Speaking of weird, Ghost Pacer is a personal holographic workout partner with special goggles to see the virtual training partner." Yeah, I've seen that before. It's been getting like pushed to me in my Instagram ads. I think it gets pushed to me in Instagram stories ads. Yeah. Stevie76 says, "What would you dial for the party line?" No, it was just like your phone number, but the phone number corresponded to two different houses. That's how the party line worked. Yeah. Patty Wiggles here saying, "Yo, Michael from SoCal. What's going on, Patty Wiggle? Hope you're doing all right." Arnold Allen says, "Even debunked conspiracies hold water for these people." So yeah, maybe, but like, are they worried? Like, are they worried now, or are they like, Q will save us from it all? I don't know. Sean Marshall says, "Conspiracy theorists haven't heard of the new iPhone yet because it can't get push notifications to the Razr." Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. Let's see. Danny J says, "The first time I had my 12-year-old heartbroken was on AOL. It's irreplaceable experience." Yeah. It's an irreplaceable life experience. Yeah, that's, oh man. Chris Dyke says, "I had a pager for a short time. I was not a drug dealer." Yeah, I mean, I remember in my middle school, we had a very strict rule that like you could not bring the pager to school, because it was presumed that the only reason a kid would need a pager is if he were dealing. Even though this was in the era where like there was like latch. I mean, I guess like, I mean, there was like latchkey kids, like the kids that like, just went home to like, like just home to themselves by themselves after school, and it was like a couple hours before their parents got home. Like, I mean, I felt like the pager. I'm like, can I get my daughter an iPod Touch and then I can like text her stuff? That way I can make sure she's at the activity she needs to be in, or if like, I don't know, like there were times when I remember I was like, oh, I forgot to bring her lunch. I would love to be able to just text her like, I forgot your lunch, but I'm bringing one up now. Instead, like, she wouldn't know about it until like over the loudspeaker in class. They'd be like, can you come to the office to pick up your lunch? Your dad brought it in, you know? So I feel like having like my daughter have like a pager would be kind of useful, or like an app that's like a pager. I don't know. Patty Will had a 27-mile bike ride with the brother this morning. Awesome. Great break from running. Very cool. Neat Penguin says, how did that crazy get so worked up by 5G? Given the 4G speeds you get, I'd figure they would go %G is a hoax, or whatever G is a hoax. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand, like, I don't understand like 5G is a hoax. Like, I don't understand like why it's a big deal. I guess because I'm still one of the sheeple that doesn't understand. PK says, where New Jersey from? Bergen County gang. Oh, what's going on? My parents are in Bergen County. I grew up, we moved around all over, but we kind of like lived for a while in like Middlesex County area. That's when I was real little, like my daughter's age. Then we moved down to Monmouth County and I lived there for a while. And then we moved to Hunterdon County on the other side of the state. And that's where I graduated high school from. After that, then my parents moved to Bergen County. And then they moved up to New York for a little while, and then they came back. But they're back in Fort Lee now. So, yeah. Wabu says, I think that's how you say that, a 5G is pretty useless. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Like, well, I mean, in Chicago, I'll probably have it. But here, I don't even get good. I'm not even sure I'm getting 4G out here some of the time in terms of like when I'm out and about. A lot of times my Apple Watch will just not play any music. So like when I'm trying to like stream stuff to it, it just doesn't stream anything because there's no signal. So. Yeah, Patty Wilgo says, the only thing is you can only message your daughter if she's on Wi-Fi. Yeah. And I don't think the school there like has Wi-Fi that the students can get on, which makes a lot of sense. So that would be something that I have to figure out. But like, I was looking at, there were a lot of devices that were coming out on the market before like 2020 happened that were like, basically looked like they looked like mini, like Bose sound waves, like the little speakers, like little Bose speakers. And I don't know if it had like an actual mic in it, but it had like a GPS tracker in it. And I thought you could like text them on it too. And it was like really basic texting. I don't remember. Maybe I'm like remembering, or maybe I'm mixing two products, but like that was part of like the sell of it. Like you don't have to pay for like a monthly like data plan because all you're doing is texting. They worked that out and they wrapped it into the price of the product. So yeah, but I don't really need any of that now. She's just downstairs. Yeah. Let's see. Christian says 5G must be interference from the tracking chip embedded in your bloodstream from the flu vaccine. Kofuzi. Come on, everyone knows this. Yes. Is that what it is? It's like a 5G it activates something that's already been like injected into us, or is that how like does like all the virus talk like feed in and wrap into like, oh, there's a vaccine coming out that everyone in the United States is going to have to get, and then 5G also happens to be coming at around the same time? Or that's how it works, right? I think I don't know. Patty Wiggle says, just get walkie-talkies. I think that's kind of what I need. But I like, I don't want to be like, come in, Millhouse, come in, Millhouse. I don't want to be like doing that to like my daughter in the middle of class. I think she'd get, I think she'd get in trouble with that. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to have something like, I suppose the thing to do is to get her like the iPhone, the Apple Watch SE, and then because I think I could probably do like the chirp on that, and then I have to get like a plan on it, but like a data plan on it. But like I think that's kind of like at the price that they're selling that Watch SE. I feel like that and they had it set up for like family plans, and it was definitely like a 2020 kind of sales pitch where like you can check in on your aging parents and on your tweens at the same time. Put all 5 watches on the same plan, managed by the same like the Apple ID, So yeah, Jeff Elliott says the Nextel was like that. Suddenly, someone would just be talking through the speaker on your phone. I mean, remember that? Remember the chirp, the like that thing? Like those, that was super annoying. I hated those. I mean, I know like the construction guys loved it, and like they all had those phones because they were like yellow. They were like what is it, like DeWalt colors? They were like yellow and black, and they were super thick and rugged, and you could chirp and like walkie-talkie people. But they were obnoxious. That was obnoxious phones. All right. PK saying yes. Gates was accused of developing nanomachines that would be injected into people via machines, then turned on when 5G is used. Pretty funny stuff. That's kind of like there's an episode of Futurama where Mother like turns on all the robots and all the machines, and they right? Isn't that that's like a Futurama episode. I think it's pretty funny. And then Martha says, some say if the 5G is all manufactured in China, it will have spyware built in. That's not as far-fetched. And I sure wish Apple would bring all the factories to the US. Yeah, I mean, I think the 5G and the China like national security concerns are a different kind of conspiracy theory, not as baked into like the whole like QAnon kind of. I don't think the QAnon people are worried about that. Or maybe they are as well. But I think that's a separate concern. Like the Huawei thing, like, yeah, that I think is a legitimate concern. But I don't, yeah, it's so confusing sometimes. And Martha says, I wish Apple would bring all the factories to the US. Foxconn brought some factories to the US. I think there's one in Wisconsin, not far from here, if I'm not mistaken. There was talk of it. I didn't know if they were actually going to build it or not. I think they did a big episode about it on Freakonomics, the podcast. I think that's where I remember hearing a lot about it in terms of like the impact to the local economy and what it really was going to mean. But I'd love more. What was it when Motorola was Motorola, and before Google bought Motorola, they had factories in like somewhere like, was it Fort Worth in Dallas? And so when you bought, I don't think the Moto G was built in that factory, but it was the Moto Droid. Yeah, I think those phones were made in the US. I mean, assembled in the US. And I felt like I wish that could have like gained a little bit more traction. I remember that. All right. Louis Becerra says, I can't understand how flat Earth is also still a thing. I'll say still a thing, but yeah, that one, I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Patty Wiggle says, Kofuzi, any big climbs near where you live? Can you get any good runs in before it snows? Yeah, I think so. I mean, not huge. Like the elevation gain here, I mean, if I can get 1,000 miles over the course of 10-mile run, I feel like that's a pretty good day for me around here. I'm thinking of a plan, like when I was over in Guttenberg, basically every day to no matter which direction I ran, I'd have to start out every run because we were in like a little bit of a valley or on the lower end of a bluff. But no matter which way I went, I'd have to run up a giant like hill for half a mile. And then it was a lot of rolling hills after that too. So I'm thinking I might go back over to Guttenberg and do a little bit more running from there, like drive over there and then run. So I might do that. So the knee's feeling better. It's improving. And so I'm feeling optimistic about it. So hopefully I'll be able to get some of those in. I should probably do that now just because the leaves are changing, and it might already even be too late, but the colors are vibrant enough that even I can see some of them. So yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get a couple more in. Sean Doolin says, are you going to convert to metric with your cousin Jamie? Probably not, because here's the thing. I think that like running by kilometers makes a lot of sense because it gives you more data points. A mile is kind of a long way before you're like, what's my next split? So I feel like the kilometer is a nicer, like there's more of them. So I like that. But yeah, probably not, just because I'm bad enough with distances and math while running. And so like for me to try to adapt would take a lot. And I have a hard time with it. So let's see. Donald Beck said, I had to convert to metric for my bread baking practices. I was watching a video on YouTube the other day saying like, because there was once this like independent presidential candidate who was, they say like, according to like this like mini documentary, was like doing well until like he happened to like mention like, yeah, and I think it'd be a good idea if the US converted to metric. And they're like, and the guy got like, nailed for having that like kind of position. And then lost all momentum in his presidential campaign. Then they were like, but really, everything is metric anyway. If you look at like the CFR, like the U.S. Code of Federal Regulations, everything is like listed when it comes to like transportation, pollution requirements, like EPA requirements and stuff like that. Everything's like metric. So like, I don't know. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says, if I switch my watch to kilometers, it will force me to learn it. It definitely will. It definitely would. I'd probably end up learning it pretty fast then, because I'd be like, what the heck? Either that, or I'd just be like, screw paces, screw distance. I'm just doing minutes, watts, and heart rate, which is kind of where I'm at already. I don't really look at the pace that much anymore. Back Fam says, as a data nerd, I like running with two apps going, one set to kilometers and one set to miles. Oh, yeah. You can't just do the conversion in your head now, though. I would think that after a while, maybe you could. But if you can't, that means that like, having it on your watch isn't enough to make you learn it. Brian, he says, just do half mile splits if you need more data points. That's true. I keep forgetting that on my, at least on Polar, I think you can do it in other watches too, but I happened to be just looking at it today. You can set up your auto lap to do miles, but you can also set it up to do half miles and even quarter miles. So depending on what you're running, it can do those splits for you automatically. So yeah, that's something I could definitely do if I need more data points. That's true. But at that point, then it's like, it seems like I'm really going out of my way to not learn metric. Joe Ho says, I learned metric in grade school in 1979 because going to be a thing any day. Still waiting. That's funny. That's hilarious. That's really funny. Daniel M says, it's about 28 degrees Celsius in Texas right now. I'm like, wait, is that hot? The only reason why I know like certain numbers are hot in Celsius is because I watch like vlogs on YouTube from people, in Europe or in like Australia when everyone's talking about Celsius. Otherwise, I would be like, is that a lot? I think is that balmy? I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, Donald Beck says, I like your Sage shirt. Yeah. My wife brought it back when she did she had to go back to Chicago for a day. And so I was like, you got to bring me back some more of my shirts. I didn't think I was going to be gone that long, so I didn't bring that many. And I was like, I have some other shirts that I want to be putting into the rotation. Chris Dyke says, it's depressing seeing these young bucks, Tin Man, etc., running the same paces in miles that I run in kilometers. Yeah, the guys are fast. They sure are. Yeah. Martha says, everyone remember Deep Thoughts from SNL? Lots of that today. I love this co-munitions. Funny. Arnold Ellis says, it's like 32 Celsius in Austin. Don't know where up north that 20 Celsius is. Yeah, 20 degrees Celsius. Yeah, I don't know. Lewis is at 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot. Yeah. Sean Doolin says, any thoughts on the Nike new sustainable shoe line? Still friction? Is there a new one? Because I know that they made one that was like, it looked like the Element React, or kind of like, they all look weird. They all look like moon boots. There's one that's like a low top, one that's a mid top, and then one that's like a knee high boot. I think, right? If I'm remembering those. Is that the one you're talking about, Sean? I think those are awesome. I just don't have a lot of room in my rotation for casual shoes right now. That being said, a casual shoe video is going to be coming out in like the next month, but I already have I got way too many shoes right now. So that's the main reason why I haven't looked at any of the casual shoes this year. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Mark, this is trash, the Nike line. Yeah, that's what I think that he's talking about. Unless there's something new that was announced that I don't know about. Yeah. Donald Beck says, you guys are my gauge for normalcy in these unprecedented times. And Martha says, feel the same way. Yeah. I mean, it's good to have like some perspective here from a lot of people from all over. Gives us a good sense of, like gives our bearing straight, I think. I think it's good. Andreas says, I ran for the first time in a long time today and felt pretty good. Felt like my heart was going to come out of my chest. Well, I mean, that's normal if it's been the first time in a long time, but I'm glad overall that you say it felt pretty good. So great work, Andreas. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Sean Marshall says, wait, I just realized no trivia today. Yeah, and I guess we could end on this one today just to wrap it up. But I was working on it, and I think it's going to be something that you guys really like. But I realized I was like rushing it just to try to get it done for today. And rather than do that, I thought that I try to do the topic a little bit more justice. And I hope I'm not hyping it up too much. So I just didn't want to here's 5 things. It's not that. It's okay. I got it done. I want to make sure I have some fun questions for you. So we'll do another Trivia Tuesday next week. I'll have plenty of time to kind of get it done, but I didn't have time to do it today. And it ended up being, as Rainrunner says, Tech Talk Tuesday. So so I feel like it worked out. I think that we're going to end it there. Tomorrow's video is going to be about trying to run with the Polar Watch and do the stride workouts that are all based on power. How well that works or doesn't work. And then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon. Same time, 3 p.m. Right here on YouTube. Hopefully I'll see you guys then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Take care. Thanks.